You are lying in a hospital bed. Your heart is slowing down. The voices around you are fading. Your family is standing beside you. And then something strange begins to happen. Scientists have spent decades studying the final moments of human life. What they discovered is both terrifying and fascinating. What actually happens in the last seconds before death? For most people, death begins when the heart stops pumping blood. The moment blood flow stops, oxygen can no longer reach the brain. Within seconds, consciousness begins to fade. Vision becomes blurry. Hearing starts disappearing. The body slowly loses control. But surprisingly, the brain is not dead yet. Scientists studying dying patients have discovered something unexpected. Even after the heart stops, the brain can remain active for a short period. In some cases, brain activity briefly increases, almost like the brain is making one final effort. Some researchers call this a last surge, a final burst of electrical activity before everything goes dark. Many people who survived near-death experiences report similar stories. They describe bright lights. They describe floating above their bodies. Some say they saw dead relatives. Others felt overwhelming peace. Scientists still debate why this happens. Some believe it is caused by oxygen deprivation. Others think chemicals released by the brain create vivid experiences. The truth is, nobody knows for certain. One of the strangest reports is how time changes. People often say their entire life flashed before their eyes. Childhood memories, forgotten moments, faces they had not thought about for decades. The brain may be rapidly accessing memories during its final moments, creating the sensation that a lifetime is passing in seconds. For thousands of years, humans have asked the same question. What happens right before death? Modern science has revealed part of the answer. The heart stops. The brain struggles to survive. Memories may flood back. Reality itself may feel different. But the final mystery remains unsolved. No matter how advanced science becomes, the last experience of human life is still one of the greatest mysteries in existence. And one day, every single one of us will discover the answer for ourselves. Can people hear after they die? One of the most surprising discoveries came from hospitals. Scientists found evidence suggesting that hearing may be one of the last senses to disappear. In several studies, researchers monitored the brains of dying patients. Even when patients appeared completely unconscious, their brains sometimes still responded to sounds. This means that a person in their final moments may still hear the voices around them. The voice of a husband, the voice of a wife, the voice of a child saying goodbye. It is a powerful reminder. Even when someone seems unresponsive, they may still know that you are there. And that possibility has changed how many doctors and nurses care for dying patients. They continue speaking. They continue offering comfort, because nobody knows exactly what a dying person can still hear, and nobody wants their final moments to be spent in silence. The greatest mystery. Despite everything science has learned, the biggest question remains unanswered. What does death actually feel like? Nobody knows. Every person who came close eventually came back, but nobody has crossed the final boundary and returned to tell us what lies beyond. For thousands of years, religions, philosophers, and scientists have searched for the answer. Some believe death is the end. Others believe it is a beginning. But one fact is certain. Every human who has ever lived has faced this moment. Kings, warriors, scientists, explorers, every single one. Death is the one experience that unites all of humanity. And perhaps that is why we fear it. Not because it is understood, but because it remains the greatest mystery we will ever face. And somewhere in the future, every one of us will eventually discover what happens in those final moments. What if death is not instant? Most people imagine death as a single moment. 1 second you are alive, the next second you are gone. But reality may be more complicated. Scientists now believe that death is not a switch. It is a process. Different parts of the body shut down at different times. The heart stops, the lungs stop, cells begin to die, but not all at once. Some cells can remain alive for hours, some even longer. In a way, the body does not disappear instantly. It slowly fades. That realization has completely changed how scientists think about death. The line between life and death may not be as clear as we once believed. And that raises an uncomfortable question. If death is a process, exactly when do you stop existing? Nobody has an answer. And perhaps that question is even stranger than death itself. For thousands of years, humans have stared into the darkness and asked the same question. What happens right before death? Science has uncovered clues: the slowing heart, the fading senses, the final activity of the brain, the strange experiences reported by survivors. But the ultimate answer remains hidden, waiting beyond a door that every human being must one day walk through. And until that day comes, the final moments of life will remain one of the greatest mysteries in the universe. The fear of the unknown. If death is natural, why are humans so afraid of it? Scientists believe the answer lies deep within the brain. Humans are unique. We know that we are alive. And because we know we are alive, we also know that one day we will die. That realization creates a kind of fear no other animal experiences in the same way. But strangely, most people who come close to death describe something unexpected. Not terror, not panic, but peace. Researchers studying near-death experiences have heard the same descriptions again and again. A feeling of calm, a feeling of acceptance, a feeling that everything is somehow okay. Nobody knows exactly why this happens. It could be the brain protecting itself. It could be a biological response. Or it could be something we do not yet understand. But whatever the explanation, the stories are remarkably similar. And that raises one final question. Maybe the thing we fear most is not death itself. Maybe it is simply the fact that we do not know what comes next. For thousands of years, humanity has searched for that answer. And even today, the mystery remains.